Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back. It is Wednesday morning. We have a very interesting topic to talk about today. Before we get in today's topic, guys, please, more than anything, help us help you by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube channel or wherever else you feel comfortable following us. We work hard to give you guys topics that you guys care about, topics that we care about, and we make sure to give you the best content possible. The best way for you guys to support us, the best way is to follow us, and we provide all the links in our YouTube channel. You can follow us wherever you feel comfortable. So please smash and like and share, subscribe, whatever you feel comfortable, that like button.
Yes, and it's actually afternoon here in the UK. Just gone 12 midday, so we've had a whole morning, and this is what I love about this. It's so early for you, and then I've had already a number of hours in the day. But yeah, if you could, that'd be brilliant to show your love and support by following us and subscribing to us. We are kind of everywhere, aren't we, Michael? I think
We're everywhere
we
we need
we
to
need to
be
be.
for
Yes,
you guys to like subscribe to the content.
yes,
Um,
yes.
we're getting ready to wrap up season 2, guys. As you guys know, we're getting ready to wrap that up, and we're gonna move on to season 3. So season 3, we're looking to have a lot more edginess.
Mm.
We're also looking to have a lot more guests. So we really want you guys to, follow us on this journey or continue to take part in what it is we're doing, so we can always provide you the highest level of content, the best level of experience, because that's what this is. We're here to give you an experience. You guys walk away from it. Either you take something away from it or you don't.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today's subject is actually so I think this is a really deep one in the sense of it could really be a game changer in someone's relationship.
I think
Um,
so.
yeah, I think so too. So, do you discuss your relationship with others? And I'm going to just kick this off by saying the times that I have, the amount of judgment that comes from others, and then I'm finding myself justifying for them, but it's my fault because I have been the one that's opened the can of worms in the first place. So if I didn't ever discuss my relationship, then nobody could ever give their judgment or their opinion. And if they can see from the outside, and if they want to say something, then that's up to them. I can't stop somebody from saying something or having an opinion. However, by me going to somebody and asking for their advice or their opinion, many times or every time, it has gone into a negative way. And it's them trying to persuade me to say they're not good for you or that it's not right or whatever, or actually them bashing that person. Now, um, so in my experience, I've definitely learned that never to speak about your relationship with others unless you're discussing even the good stuff. I've even heard stories, Michael, and I really have heard stories where women have discussed the positives of their relationships and just really gone in and just gone how amazing their man is, how amazing every part of their relationship is with particular friends, and then those friends have then come onto their man because they want a piece of that, because to them it's like, well, if he's that good, I want to know about him too. And so you've got to remember, not everybody has integrity. Not everybody, um, like a lot of people say, like, not everyone's like you. If you've got a good heart, you've got a good mind, you've got everything, like you walk with integrity and you don't step out of your own boundaries and you know your solid boundaries. Not everybody's like that. People will step on other people to get what they want, and that goes in every area of life. So I think you've got to be so careful in who you speak to your relationship, you discuss your relationship with, and the consequences. And when you start, if you like, don't get that, if the what's coming back to you is really a negative way, or you can kind of see that they're getting a bit too overexcited about the good stuff that you're sharing, just stop, close that can of worms as soon as you can. Don't let that momentum get going, is what I would say on that, just for now, Michael. How about yourself?
Well, I'm gonna give this. Hang on a sec. And for me, it's a no. And I'm gonna say why you should not discuss your relationship with someone else. I'm specifically gonna I'm gonna dig gritty and I'm gonna dig hard on why you shouldn't do it. So you guys should honestly strap in and for what I'm about to say. You are not dating that person and the people you're telling your relationship to. It's between you two. It's
Yes.
between you, your man, your girl, your guy. So if you're out there telling like your friends about your relationship, good or bad, um, what happens is if it's bad, they're obviously gonna be like, oh, leave her, leave him, blah 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 blah. And why are you setting yourself up to fail? You're not dating your friends and this person. So it should be private. Nobody should know what goes on between you two. That's what people don't understand. So it's like, I get it. You want advice. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't seek it? No. What I am saying is if you want advice about your relationship or marriage, go to a professional, like a counselor or a
Mm,
coach that you are paying.
yes.
So that's what I'm saying. If there's a coach, like a relationship coach or a dating coach or a marriage coach or a marriage counselor, pay them and get it there because
Mm-hmm.
the opinion is going to be unbiased.
Yes, 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 absolutely. It's going to be unbiased, but it's amazing. I'm going to just add this in. A lot of people like drama, so they thrive off that. And this is a problem in the world, Michael. Like, it's not, people love that. And so especially women will tend to go and speak about their relationships with people, because it's something to talk about, and they feel it in the time. And I know, like, I've discussed my
Well, your
relationship with,
friends mostly.
oh yeah, and I've discussed my relationship with you, um and I've done that, you know I have spoken with you many times about relationships, or a
Of course.
relationship that I've been in. Um, However, the difference, I
Is
think
it's
the
never
difference,
bashing though. That's the thing.
right,
Like
as I was about to
a
say,
lot of times when somebody goes to somebody, sorry to cut you off. So when someone goes to someone to talk about their relationship in a negative context, it's to get validation for the
yes,
feelings that they're feeling
yes,
of that person being like, oh, he did XYZ or she did XYZ. And then
bam,
that person's
Michael.
like, damn, like that person's trash. And then it validates your ideas.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. You just hit the nail on the head. That is a boom. Honestly, that's exactly, and that goes with anything in life. When people are going to somebody, they to express something in a negative way, it's to get validation, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all it comes down to say, well, I'm feeling like this now. I will need you to validate my feelings and my thoughts on this. And then the other person will be like, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's this. I think he's that. But actually, if you take that step back and you look into your relationship properly, then you'll be able to go either to your partner and sit and speak about your relationship, or, like you rightfully said, take on a professional, because a
Yeah.
professional won't have a judgment towards your relationship. They will speak to you from a professional level, and it's not that they're going to guide you into your relationship. They're going to ask you
They're going
questions.
to look at both sides.
They're going to look at both sides, and they're going to ask questions. They don't A coach or a mentor doesn't come to, you don't go to them and they start giving you, they're not Mystic Meg. They're not going to start laying out the cards to say, oh, you should do this and you should do that. No, they ask you questions and help you get to your own answers by yourself. Where in a gathering of ladies, let's say, or females, it doesn't work like that. There's way too many other opinions and
Well, I'm also
thoughts
going to make
and,
this statement, this very strong statement. It also depends who you're talking to.
oh goodness,
If
yes,
you're talking to, let's say, for example, one of your guy friends, like let's say I'm a guy and I have relationship problems with my girl, and I'm talking to my guy friend that's just out here laying down chicks every weekend. His solution is just going to be leave her, get a new girl. There's plenty more in the sea, instead of actually fixing the problem and fixing the issue, which could just be a minor issue of miscommunication. But he's
Yeah.
just going to be like, nah, forget her, bro. She acting crazy. Go get a new one. Because it's the same thing
Yeah.
on the female side, that when you
Yep.
have your single girlfriend that's out there partying, doing whatever, laying down with dudes, when you go to her, oh, Johnny's not listening to me, or Johnny's acting XYZ way. She'll be like, girl, Johnny's a buster. You should have never been with him anyways. And then she's going to start to inflate your ego. And then you're going to start to be like, you know what? Maybe I do need to leave Johnny and be with someone else.
And then you don't ever get to the root cause of the problem. And when when you turn to your partner and you can discuss it with your partner, then you can sit and you can both of you get to the root of the problem, and it stops the outside energies coming in. Those outside, look, like I said at the beginning here, not everyone's got the same thought process as you, or the same heart or same integrity as you. So when you're going to people, like Michael just rightfully said, it's easy for them because they're going to think about themselves too. If it's a single person, they're going to say they say to you, oh, just let him go. Don't, why do you need to put up with that? Just tell him to get lost. And in her head, she's probably thinking, yes. Then she'll probably go on to say, well, you can come out with me Saturday night. We can have a really good night. Forget about him. You just forget about him. We'll find you someone else. But is life really about that? Just kind of moving on and just not taking that time to have that respect of the fact that you're in that relationship in the first place,
Well, that's the thing. You see, that's why I'm going to touch on Matthew's point. It depends on who you
Yeah.
talk to. Now, let's be honest. We all have one or two or maybe three friends that are like that. They are probably the wrong person to go and talk to about your relationship, because of the lifestyle and how they behave on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't work.
That's right.
Now, what happens is the reason why I said go see a professional. This is why it's important, because if you talk to your friends, they're only going to get your side. That
Mm-hmm.
is the problem with it. If I go to my buddy and I'm like, oh, Jill's driving me crazy, like she nagging me, she doing this, that, I kind of want to do this to her. This is Sparta! He's gonna tell me, oh, bro, he's gonna tell me whatever, but he's only getting my side of things. So you see, that's why it's very, very inconducive to talk to your friends, because they only get half of the picture. Then they don't get the other side of things, and then what happens is now you have a conundrum, because they're only going to give you advice based off of the side that you told, and you're also probably going to leave out details that are going to make you look bad, and only shine the light on them.
It's so true, right? So true. So I mean, I wonder if there's anybody out there who has discussed their relationship with others and
We
had
all
a
have.
very, but I
We
wonder, but what I was
all
going to
have.
say is, if they had a very positive outcome from it. I wonder if that's, because I don't remember discussing it and then having a really true positive outcome.
But
It's
as I
because
said, it
again,
depends on who you talk to. Like, I have married friends. If I was to tell them the good things about my relationship, they would support me. It's like they tell me the good things about their relationship, and I'm not sitting there like, damn, I want his wife.
no. But that's what I'm saying. But some people might do that, Michael. So you've really got to minimize your the outside forces unless you're paying for a service. If you're
Yeah.
paying for a service, it's completely different because they are there and they're professionals and that's what they're there to do. They know the questions to ask. They know they
Yeah.
can they understand both sides. Like you said, they're going to get both sides of the stories. You're going to have two people sitting there together. You're going to have a couple together, and they'll be able to discuss. And that's really what it comes down to: the fact that there's the couple are there together, and and even though there's a third party involved, it's not really. They're not really involved. They're just guiding and asking the questions to help each individual come to an understanding of where the problem has come from. Because a lot of the times, how we've said many times on here, no one goes to the root cause of the problem, and they just carry on. And
They look at
somebody
the
might
surface
they look at the
problem.
surface of things. So someone, say your partner's done something, and then you say to them, "Look, I didn't like it," and they just go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you go, "Oh, okay." And that's that. It's like black and white as that. Then it happens again, and you think, well, I told you, but you didn't get to the root cause of the problem. Why did that happen first and foremost? Why was that level of disrespect take place? Why did, what is it? What happened for it to get to that in the first place? Now, sometimes you can work it out yourself, and you don't need to speak to anyone. But when you do, like we said, and you're speaking to the wrong people, which is normally, and I'm not saying friends are wrong people to speak like in general, but when
I'm
it
saying
comes
be
down to
selective on who
be
you talk to as well.
extremely selective. And definitely
Um,
I've learned that lesson in my life. Like, it's not worth it. Like,
yeah,
I've
you
got
have to just know who you're talking to. That's the context, is who.
who,
And I really
yeah.
want to touch on Matthew's point is, does a professional really help? For sure for some, but not for how many. Now, I'll tell you this openly, Matthew, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I am. I would tell people if they're having, if and it depends. I'm not just saying go to therapy for every problem, but I'm saying if it's serious problems. Now, if we're talking like cheating, if we're talking like serious problems, I believe in going to a professional and getting an outside objective to look at the relationship outside of it, because he's not dating either of you, or she is, or whoever you go to. Look at it objectively and help you guys get down to the root of problems. It's the same thing. I would tell people before you get married, go to marriage counseling. I think marriage counseling can actually save a lot of marriages.
To not happen in the first place.
No, well, to either, for two reasons: to either A, confirm that you guys should not get married;
Yeah. Or
B, to confirm that you guys should get married, but all of the boxes are checked, like the resources, like let's say for example finances, well-being, all those type of things are checked off. So you're either going to get two outcomes when you go to therapy, especially marriage counseling. A, he's going to be like, I don't think you guys should get married, you guys are clearly not for each other. B, he's going to say you guys are perfect for each other. All the things are in play for you guys to actually, like, take that step.
because a lot of people will stay together through fear of not
That too.
finding somebody else. So, like you said, it's a validation in the right way, because if you're speaking to somebody of a professional level and that's what they do, then it could help you find your inner demons as such, and help you be able to do that own self-development on yourself. Because, so like I said, so many people will use that thing of, oh, I've been with them for this amount of time, or yeah, especially that one, or yeah, it's been a long time we've been together, but yet they know that the relationship is an absolute, between them two, is an absolute shambles. However, they're
Mm,
so frightened to go, and they're so scared of what's ahead of them and what could be, that they just stay there and they live this miserable life with their partner, just because it's easier than facing what they don't
the
know,
truth.
the truth.
Well,
Absolutely. And what's next in life, because so many people don't take those steps forward in general, because they're so frightened of the unknown. So they stay stagnant in their life and do not move forward because of those reasons. And I think if everyone was to realize that um this world, you can literally do anything you want. It's a choice. You do whatever you want, and you don't need to have somebody there to be able to make your choices and make a great life for yourself. If somebody's not good for you, you're going to know, because there's going to be certain things happening within you because you're not feeling good. You're constantly having to worry or not know which way to turn with your relationship. Now, and speaking to an outsider who is not a professional, like you said, and it's the wrong person, is going to
It
validate
could ruin
that.
your
It
relationship.
can ruin your relationship. Yeah, if you're in not in a bad place in your relationship, but you're just going through some stuff that's, just some stuff, and he's done something or she's done something, and it's happened a few times, and you haven't addressed it with that person, but you've gone to someone else. They don't know the ins and outs of how you wake up in
Don't.
the morning, how you sleep at night in bed, how they treat you throughout your day. They don't know any of that because they're not there. Only you know that. So if
You
you're
and that person know that,
Yes,
yeah.
you and that person. So if you're presenting a negative to somebody outside that's not the fly on the wall watching you continuously 24/7, then they're just going to go by what you're saying. And like
Yeah,
you
they're just gonna
rightfully
base it
said,
off of what you told them
yes, and like
while
you
you're leaving
rightfully
out
said,
details.
it's a validation of what you're expressing. That's all that's going to come back to you. It's not going to be very likely they turn around and say, "Oh, well, he does, or he or she does this throughout the day for you," and
Yeah, they're
all
never
these
gonna admit
wonderful.
their own faults. They're always gonna look at the other person's faults.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do want to touch on Matthew's point about a big advocate for therapy and for depression. Well, the right professional. Objective input is always good. It's just hard with relationships. So, with that being said, Matthew, I'm not going to go to like Yo Yo Joe, where like I'm walking on the street and I see like a poster that says, "Hey, therapy." Not that type of person. I'm not going to go to Yo Yo Joe. What I'm going to do is, for example, let's say I'm going to go to something like a Tony Robbins event with me and my partner. Tony Robbins is someone that I trust when it comes to relationships. He's happily married. You see what I'm saying? So you're absolutely right when it comes to with relationships. You have to vet the therapist that it is you're using when it comes to reviews, what their status is like, how many people have they helped, what have they done, levels of contribution, a bunch of things. You're not just going to see Yo Yo Joe or Hahu Mary. You know what I mean? For advice, doesn't make sense. Um, and I'm gonna read it. Yeah, exactly. You see, marriage counseling works for some and it doesn't work for others, right?
Mm,
And again, sorry for your situation, Matthew, but you're with the right person now. Unfortunately, like divorce sucks. Like it happens, things happen in life. And it sucks. But I think at the end of the day, like you're with the person you're supposed to be with now. So I think at the end of the day, like that's the important thing. Um, I love what you said. It's the unspoken things, those feelings. It's hard to explain it to someone else. 100%, right? It's getting down to the roots. And sometimes it's really hard to do that in a relationship um, when you are heated in your emotions. Because again, you also have to understand that the reason why we also talk to people outside of a relationship, it's because we want to be heard and we're not being heard by our partner.
yeah, because a lot of people haven't even tried to sit down and be
Well, they've
heard by
done
their
both.
partner.
They've
Yeah,
either tried to talk to their partner and their partner's dismissive, or like they haven't talked to them. So that's what I mean. It's those two things.
good morning, Melissa. I've just seen her pop up.
Yeah,
Hi, my
because
darling.
when you look at it, some people don't know how to talk to their partner. So they're looking at it as their partner is being dismissive. So then what they do is they want to get listened to. Everybody likes to be listened to, right? So if you're not being listened to, now you're going to move to outside sources that will listen to you about your griefs, your grievances, whatever it is you need to say, and then go back to your partner fulfilled. But I'm also going to say this as well. When you step outside of the relationship and talk to others, you are violating the agreement in the relationship. And I'm going to say why you're violating it. Because when you are dating someone or you're in a serious relationship or marriage, the agreement is anything that happens in the relationship stays within the context of the relationship. Let's say you have your relationship and it's a jar, and you and this person are drinking from this jar of water, right? When you go outside of that jar and you start telling other people about your relationship, what you're doing is pouring the water from the jar inside your relationship onto others. And that becomes a problem because you violated the agreement, because no one should know what goes on between you and someone else, especially if it's like intimate details, especially if it's anything personal. Nobody should know those things. You violated the agreement unless it's a professional, because in a professional setting, it's different. You're paying for it, you're paying for a service. It's very different.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's definitely a lesson learned on my side for sure. But
So
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I violated the trust multiple times in my relationships. I
yeah.
spoke to people outside the relationship and say, "Oh, I have this problem with her," and blah 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 blah. I violated the agreement of trust.
It's so easy to do because when you're in that moment and you need to and you want to
Vent.
vet, you need to yeah, and you want to vent, and you know, I think there's two people that I speak with that I would take what they say because they look at it in such a neutral way and they don't judge. And I'm going to say one of them is yourself, and another one is actually Melissa, who's here. And I can honestly say that anytime I've spoken to either of you two, it has never been a judgment. It's always been looking from a perspective of both sides, and
It is.
questions have been asked. And I think that is so important. So like you said many times previously, where I have gone out and spoken about my relationships and spoken about them in a negative way, because most of the time, if that's how you're, if there's a problem, you're not going to feel good about your problem, right?
No.
Otherwise you're not going to talk about it. So and yeah, this is such a great subject for people to hear, to really take on board and really hear that, not to violate your relationship like that, and to stay within it, within your boundaries, to respect it, to speak to your partner and or to the right people. And you know who the right person is: someone who's happily married,
Or in
someone
a
who,
happy relationship with some miles on it. But yeah, like a
yes,
hundred percent. Like,
yes. It's like you don't go like, why would I go? Like, if I went to somebody who's in a miserable relationship and they have not found their feet within the relationship, they've been in a really bad way, and then I go to them for relationship advice. I mean, how do they know they're in a miserable relationship? So how are they going to be able to tell me the happy side of my relationship? They're
but
just
you
going to
see,
validate their own.
but you see what's interesting. You said the happy side. You know what's funny? I guess I'm a different person. I would also learn from a divorced person.
Well, yes, but yeah,
You know why I would
think
learn from a
about that.
divorced person? I would
Go on.
learn from a divorced person because I would figure out what not to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And they figured out what not to do.
Exactly. They figured out what not to do. So
Yeah,
that's why I would
I think
talk
that's
to
what
a divorced
Matthew's
person.
saying. Yeah, that's what Matthew's saying here. Like, he was in a relationship, went to the marriage counseling, whatnot, but now he's in the right place with the right person,
Mm.
and it's been 6 years. And so yeah, that absolutely. I'm gonna see. Do you want to read out a professional? Do you want to read out
Yeah.
what
So
Melissa says here?
yeah. So yes, scripture talks about wise counsel. Like if you believe in the Bible like I do and practice your faith, I believe in going to wise counsel. But most people don't know how to do that. They'll just pick like any one of their friends, and like get advice from anybody, and you're like, why would you do that? You're hindering your chances of success. I would say, look, go to a pastor, or paid counseling.
Mm.
Those are your two options.
And
Or a
Melissa says,
Tony,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, go on.
Or
All right.
or a Tony Robbins event. If we're having issues, me and my girl, I'll be like, babe, I'm going to pay for us to go to this Tony Robbins event about love and relationship. It's a 3-day event. We're going to go learn some things to see how we can improve our relationship.
Yeah, and if that person walks away, if you walk away from that event and your partner took nothing on board, doesn't care, doesn't implement
Yeah.
anything, then you've got your own answers at the end of the day. But if you walk away and that you have that great discussion, or on the way home you're really talking about it and you really start to implement what you've learned, then that's growth, and that's a growth mindset. At the end of the day, you're starting to
Well, yeah,
look
I
at
would
things.
make sure to pick a partner that was open to those things even before I started dating them. I would make sure that they are open to those things, because some people are stubborn. Some people are stuck in their ways. They don't want to change. I wouldn't pick
Yeah,
someone like that. I would
no.
pick somebody that is like, hey, look, we're having some problems. How can we go about fixing it? And I'm going to give us options.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm going to look
Um,
about it.
I'm just going to read what Melissa's put here. A professional that helps to process your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs to get a place of being able to show up better in a relationship can be helpful. Absolutely. And love you too, my darling. Most things can be sorted with relationships, with self-reflection, and then healthy communication with the partner. And that's so true. So, it is, and it's like what we say is that it comes back down to self-reflection. You have to look at yourself first and foremost, and be able to understand what you're doing within the relationship. Because if you're not communicating, there's the problem. There lies the problem. You're not communicating. So the other person could be getting on with it and not knowing no different, and just thinking everything's hunky dory. And then you're just going out, having these conversations with everybody else, but not
Mhm.
actually speaking to them about it. So who's the problem? Actually, you're the problem. Because how do you know if you didn't sit down, if you had sat down, sorry, and had that conversation with your partner, then you would have got to the root cause of it, and then you could have had a brilliant discussion and actually move forward together in a more profound way. Because every time you discuss and every time you have that connection with one another to sit and really go into detail of what's happening and compensate with it, then that just builds a deeper level of connection in general. But the second you ignore that your partner's there and they're the person that you need to speak to things about, and you go outside, then you've now caused another problem,
You
right?
violated the trust between you two.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you've got to look back at yourself and understand, where do I stand with this? And it's that whole thing of everyone likes to blame another. And it's like, stop the blame game, bring it back to yourself, center yourself, find out what it is in you. What are you doing? And what can you do better to show up better within the relationship? And like, we had a brief discussion just before we went live, and you said something which I just, I absolutely love, and I'm an advocate for, and really do resonate with, is the fact that you're going to attract to you this person that is in the same space as you, in that same, you know if things are not going well for you in your life, you'll probably attract somebody who's very much
In a similar space.
in a similar space to you. So, and I so agree with that. I so resonate with that. And, I've had times where I've had to look at my life to say, what is it in me again? And then realize what's going on. And if things are a mess in my life and they're a mess in their life, how can I blame them? I can't. I have to take responsibility for what I'm doing, because the more I work on myself and the better I make my life, then they will either grow with that and become that alongside me, or it will just go its own way and it will separate. But again, this is where I say so many people don't want to go to the root cause, because they're scared of their own growth. They're scared of what they could become and what they could be in a relationship. So many people don't allow that love to come in because of past scars, and they will say, oh, I've been hurt too many times before, but that's got nothing to do with this present person. And or tried to speak to a previous partner and he flipped out or she flipped out, so I'm not going to do that again. Well, That's a different person altogether, right? Stop comparing.
Well, you can't bring your old baggage. In the Bible it says you can't put new wine in an old wineskin. You can't take wine and put it in a you can't take wine and put it in an old bottle, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're taking a lot of their issues that they've had from the past, bringing it into the new relationship, and it's hindering their success or their success rate in that relationship. So that's why it can be very problematic. And that's why, as I said, I'm going to touch on what you said about dating people in the same space that you're in. You see, that this is why me personally, and this is just me personally, like I am not about you are what you attract, you are what you entertain. Because you cannot control who you attract. You can control who you entertain though. That's the difference,
Absolutely.
right? Like people are always going to come into your life, come, go, but at the end of the day, and this is why I say accountability is huge, because you get to choose who you entertain.
You really do get to choose that. And
Nobody
even if you've
forces that
attracted
on
that in
you.
the first place, yeah, you can attract so much in the first place. But like you rightfully said, if you don't entertain it, then it's gone. It's no longer there in
Exactly.
your life. Yeah.
So
So you've, yeah,
you could have good, you could have trash, you could have whatever, but it's what you entertain that defines what you get.
absolutely. I so agree with that. I so agree with that. And Matthew saying simple moments belonging to you, not really words, emotions, true loves, time box in our own timeline, more than a wine, meaning divine. Did I read that right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just saying that it's more of like you guys are in your own timeline, and within that timeline you guys are having simple moments, emotions. It's your own little times love box between you two.
Yeah, I think I missed the first part because they said before, yes, we learn more from our mistakes
Yeah,
than we do from our successes. And that's so true. We do, of course. And if we don't learn, then we seem to have, like, I don't know, it's something that I think I've come to a realization. If I haven't learned my mistakes from my mistakes, I relive them until I've learned them. And it's just something that I've seen in my life. But yeah, you really do learn from them. When you're aware, and I think again you've got to be aware of yourself and you've got to be aware of what's going on to be able to learn from it in the first place. So yeah.
but yeah, this one, guys, is probably going to be a short one. The answer, I guess, on both of our ends is no. Do not
Yeah,
discuss your relationship with other people
do
unless you
not
are
do it.
talking to a pastor together or you are going to counseling together. Outside, or this is the third caveat, you're going to a trusted friend. Keyword trusted,
Trusted.
wise counsel. Because the wise counsel is not going to validate you. They are going to tell you this is what they're doing wrong, but also what you're doing wrong.
Yeah,
That's the difference between the two. Wise counsel is not going to validate you. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so with that being said, guys, this one's a little short episode. We have one Wednesdays, sorry, not Wednesdays, Fridays coming up, which we will be discussing. Let me find it because I really want you guys to take part in it. Um, Stop trying to change your partner, and that's a big one
Mm.
because a lot of time, and we're only going to touch on it like briefly because we got to save some of the gems for Friday. A lot of the times we're dating people and then trying to mold them into the image that we want them to be instead of accepting them at face value.
Mm-hmm.
So
This
think about it.
is
You're
do you
denying.
know what? I'm excited.
So think about it. What you're basically doing is saying, I'm only gonna love this person until they fit the mold that I want them to fit. So technically, you're even denying that person love before they can even get it. So, anyways, look, guys, this was a short episode. We'll keep it short, sweet, and we will see you guys on Friday.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Take
Again,
care.
please do like and subscribe, and share us around and let people know about us. Yeah, we love the fact that you guys are joining us, all the discussions that are taking place. So thank you, and we'll see you on Friday.
Take care.
Bye.